Chad TV here with the gaffer David Fish after this afternoon's 5-0 defeat here at Shelley. David, just how would you assess the game overall?
I thought for 10 minutes we were probably the better side. Had two good chances with Jordan Butterworth. We didn't take them, and they then slowly got back into the game. I thought the first goal was probably offside, and there was definitely a foul in the build-up. It's disappointing, like knocked the wind out of our sails, but for Adler we'd have been maybe 2 or 3 down at half-time. Second half we started slowly. They scored and we just gave up. You know, I've said to the lads in there, it was as bad as I've seen. We capitulated, we stopped working, we couldn't pass to a white shirt, and we just didn't show any pride, and that's not acceptable.
It's now about how we bounce back.
Yeah, it has to be. So I've told the lads we're in on Tuesday. We're going to do a little bit of game analysis. We're going to let them see what we saw from the side and how poor it was. We're going to do a bit of fitness work. Then we're going to work on Thursday on the plan that we're going to take into next Saturday's game. Ashton Town are also, poor run of form. We're still, in spite of that, we've lost last two, but actually we're in an okay run of form, and we just need to now bounce back and start getting back to basics and doing them much better.
Yeah, Shelley were ruthless in the play today, the way they put the ball in the net. But for Jordan in the first half, we could be looking at 7 or 8-0 here.
Yeah, I thought what they did was every player did the job very well. They had a system that they all knew and they worked on. I thought the 7 in particular was very, very good. Took his goals well, but was a constant threat and stretched the game. And in midfield, they just made better decisions than us. They just helped balls on when they needed to. They put balls into areas, and the lads at the back put the bodies on the line. They were winning the headers, they were blocking the shots, and we didn't match it. If you don't match that, you won't win a game of football.
A few changes made today. Umar Kamara and Jack Turnbull sitting out today. What was the thinking behind that?
So Umar was a tactical one. We decided to slightly tweak the system, and Umar's been doing okay, but James Aran also has been doing okay coming off the bench. There's a bit of squad rotation with James coming in. Jack Turnbull should have started, but he was took ill just before the game. So even though he was on the bench, he was wrapped up, and we weren't planning to use him. So that meant we had to make a change at about 2:15. Put Dion in for Turnbull, and honestly, I don't think that what we tried to execute in terms of the formation worked in the first half. We were trying to play a tight front three with Aaron just dropping off as almost a false 9. Didn't work. The lads were too isolated. Dion and James played much too wide, and we didn't therefore get enough ball forward. Second half went into a more traditional kind of the 4-1-2-1-2 that we've been playing recently, and I thought that might at least create some chances, but it didn't really, because we didn't get on the ball, and when we did get on the ball, we couldn't pass. We didn't take advantage of having those extra 2 players in midfield, and just got exploited down the outside.
Do you think we missed that tenacity today, that intensity that we've had in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think we missed two big things that were missing for me. 3 things really. One was pride. At 2-0, I thought we just stopped playing. I thought we didn't show enough pride to keep competing, to keep doing the horrible side of the game. I thought there was a bit about work rate. I thought they just outworked us. And then leadership. There was no leadership on the pitch. There was nobody in there dragging players around them, raising players, doing the basics, getting us back onto it. And that's a problem having a young side, but I think it's an easy cop-out. You would expect players like Ben Matthews, Dylan, Jordan Butterworth, Jordan Rutter to actually lift players around them, and they weren't having the best games, and that kind of seeped into their attitude, the shoulder slumps, and we allowed ourselves to be rolled over.
So as you mentioned, training on Tuesday, Ashton Town on Saturday. What is it to do now ahead of the trip to Ashton on Saturday?
So Tuesday we're going to have a look at today's game. We're going to look at some of the highlights of today's game. We're going to focus on some of the things that I think the decisions that we didn't make well. We're going to focus on some of the goals and look at the poor defensive play and look at how we deal with that, and kind of plant in the players' heads a little bit around what we aren't doing well and what we want to do, and focus on for Saturday. Thursday then we'll go and put that on the pitch. We'll get down the grass. We'll set the team up how we want to set them up on Saturday, and we'll focus on certain ways of playing to make sure that we're competitive, and that we're much better today in terms of creating chances and in terms of competing.
Yeah, we've scored a lot of goals prior to the last 2 games. We've scored 7 goals against Cleaton Celtic, 4 at Steeton. We're putting the ball in the net a lot. To go from that now into 1 goal in 2 games is a concern there from the attacking point of view.
Yeah, and if you look at today, and you'll see on the highlights when you're looking at those, we worked balls into decent areas, but didn't test the keeper. So JB had 2 early on in the first half. We had a goal mouth scramble where even though it was the keeper spilled it, we really looked like scoring. And when lads were getting around the edge of the box, I thought they passed responsibility. Players were making 5-yard passes, overplaying, trying to be too fancy with what they were doing, and not just kind of hitting the target and testing keepers. We've got one of the best keepers at this level. I think there was some. The keeper today is not bad, but there were some poor keepers, and if you test them, you'll score goals. And today, I couldn't tell you how good Day was or not. He could have got a deck chair out for most of today, given how much we tested him, and that's poor. We've been scoring lots of goals because we've been getting shots off, following things in, and we didn't do any of that.
I mentioned Jordan Hadlow, one of the best keepers in this league. He's had a great, despite the scoreline, actually has had a great game today.
Yeah, he has. The fourth goal, he was disappointed with. I'd expect him to save it, but he made probably 3 or 4 one-on-one saves that were right out the top drawer. Good footwork, good positioning, brave, everything you want for your keeper. And the other thing he's done really well and responded to is some feedback he's had around his starting position, how he sweeps and how he distributes the ball. I thought his throwing and kicking was much better today, much quicker. And for me, he was the one player who can actually hold his head up after today's performance. The other lads who were on the pitch, the 13 players, have let themselves down.